Welcome back, trainers! So we're going to be talking about the Ultra Unlock bonus that we currently have going on here. So this is what we did see last year. A mass release for Mewtwo without an EX pass, which excited a lot of people and also upset a few others, seeing that they worked hard to get their Mewtwo's, but that's just the way it goes. So we're going to be talking all about that in this video. So let's go ahead and get into it, trainers. So taking a look at the past rewards here, we have Sparks Research Tasks, in which we did receive more candy for raids, rare candies that is, ×2 candy for hatching, half distance for eggs, and then ×2 candies for catching. So that was decent, not exactly the best, but you know, any sort of perk or bonus is going to be welcome for sure. And then we had Candel's tasks, which was going to be revolving around XP, ×3 XP for hatching, 1 hour lucky eggs, ×2 XP for raids, and then ×3 XP for catching. So that was probably going to help a lot of people reach level 40 because it was pretty OP regarding the XP. So these perks thus far have been pretty nice. Like I said, any sort of added bonuses are going to be welcome no matter what. But you know what we all want, that's Stardust. So this is going to be the final one, which we are currently working on, and we are pretty close. Pretty much Instinct is the only one at this point, so they might have finished it by now. We have Mystic and Valor finishing it up, and we're just waiting on you know who. Come on, you can do it, Instinct. You can do it, and then we're gonna get that nice Stardust bonus come August 13th. So that is going to be fantastic. Now taking it back to Sparks, they did show us that image down there at the bottom. Unlock an exclusive bonus raid coming soon. So what could that possibly be? Like we went over in the beginning of this video, they did release Mewtwo mass release without an EX raid pass needed. The only thing was Mewtwo did lose that Hyper Beam as well as Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball being an extremely amazing move on Mewtwo and then making it legacy that point forward. And then there was a little glitch where you could have TM'd your Mewtwo within a few minutes, I do believe, and get Shadow Ball no matter what you TM. If you just use one TM, you would have gotten Shadow Ball. That was a nice little glitch there. Unfortunately, I was not able to take part of that. I did try it, but I was just a minute too late. So with that said, exclusive unlock bonus raids. So what could that possibly be? We're going to go ahead and go over that. What is our current EX raid boss right now? Well, Deoxys. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh boy, I see where this is going, you already know by the title and the thumbnail of this video that this is what we're going to lead up to. So Deoxys, is it an exciting Pokemon? Not quite too much. Defense form is quite amazing in PvP for the Great League. As far as the other ones, you know, you do have the attack form Deoxys, which is, you know, extremely strong as far as the attack goes, but it does not survive. So what would be the benefit of going out there and actually raiding a whole bunch of these Deoxys random forms? So Mewtwo did pick up a couple of legacies. That's going to be Hyper Beam and Shadow Ball. And then it did pick up new moves when it was released as raids for everybody without an EX pass with Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Flamethrower, which are actually fairly good on it, especially Ice Beam, Mewtwo with Psycho Cut or Confusion depending on the situation. So what is the motivation? Could we actually see these coming in as a shiny variants for all 4 forms? That's a possibility, but the thing is they didn't even release Mewtwo with the shiny variants, they just simply swapped out its moves. So if not shiny Deoxys to motivate you to get out there and raid them, what will? If you already have a bunch like we just went over my inventory here. Well, possibly, folks. Just like Mewtwo, it may receive some more moves, making it actually a little bit more useful depending on the situation. It does have Psycho Boost, that signature move. We're going to actually go over what it can possibly learn here in just a moment. So that's pretty much it. I think that we're going to get Deoxys coming in for the raids as a public Pokemon, but what is going to replace it? Now that's the bigger question. What is going to replace the current EX raid after we're done with the speed form here? Well, there's a few things that we can go over, so let's go ahead and talk about that. Alright, now as far as the new EX raid boss, what can we see after Deoxys? Well, maybe a Regigigas, guys. You may not like to hear that, but possibly this. It may come into the raids as a legendary raid boss, simple as that, but you never know. This is definitely on the table. So check out the stats here. Max CP, pretty high up there. Attack, defense, and stamina are all looking fairly good. We're not going to get too much into the moves or anything like that. Let's just go ahead and move along. So we have Fion here, which can also possibly be an EX raid, I suppose. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a mythical breakthrough, much like Jirachi And that's another thing to take note of, is you're probably going to be seeing Jirachi coming in for the rest of the world as soon as the Go Fest does end over in Japan. And that is another thing for everybody to look forward to. And the tasks will be out soon enough, and we will be going over those. Darkrai, I do believe, is going to be released around Halloween. Kind of like maybe for a raid around Halloween time. Not too sure, but also kind of like Spiritomb, in which you're only going to be able to get one. You're going to have to do a bunch of research tasks. And then after you complete it, then you catch it and you get one. Doesn't matter what the IVs are, unfortunately, and that's just the way it goes. Then we have Shaman here, land form. It does have another form. Let's see if we can bring it up. There we go, Sky. So that's what the stats are looking like there. It's going to be grass and flying. It's not bad whatsoever. That's actually a pretty nice looking Pokemon. I'm excited for this one. Not too sure how they're going to introduce it, because there is quite a few mythicals coming up, including the Arceus, which is apparently bug form right now, right? So it does have every single form. And if you're wondering how, if you're new to Pokemon, how does that work? Well, in the main series games, there's things that are called plates. And in the main series games, you can also make Pokemon hold on to one item at a time, in which if you did give them one of these plates, it will become whatever type you make it. So it doesn't change the stats, it doesn't change the moves, it simply changes that type. Depending on whatever moves that it does have learned, you could work around it for that specific type or your team, or whatever your strategy may be. How could they possibly introduce this into Pokemon Go? Well, that's a tricky one. Either they're going to let us find plates, or they're going to release it into an EX raid, or possibly a mythical breakthrough, in which you're just going to get a random one. In which case, that's not going to be too good, because let's go ahead and take a look at these moves. I don't want a random Arceus type. I want to be able to pick it, because if you were to say be a grass type, you'd have zero usability out of that. It's going to be for the quick moves Shadow Claw and Iron Tail, which you're going to get no stab from those. Future Sight, Hyper Beam, and Outrage, and no stab yet again. I think the best type that you can possibly be is either Dragon or Ghost to make the most of this, or maybe even Psychic, I suppose. Being the regular form, you will get that stab on Hyper Beam, but Hyper Beam or normal types are not super effective to anything, therefore it's not going to be that great. So you're either going to want to be Ghost or Dragon, all right? And that's to say if it keeps these moves that we see before us here. If they switch it up, then it really depends on what types of moves it gets, and that's the type of Arceus that you want to get. So there is Arceus, pretty interesting stuff, right? And then we have Victini. Not too sure how that's going to work either, but like I said, there is quite a few mythicals coming up that if at this pace, it's going to take a long time to finally get them, unless they start pumping out these events left and right. But there's still Pokemon that we do not have, like, I don't know, a specific chameleon. We still don't have that one. I'm not too sure what's going on with that. And then going after this one is going to be Gen 5, but we're not going to get into that right now. We'll see Gen 5 probably around October, maybe November-ish, somewhere around there. Now, if they wanted everybody to get excited and happy for the next EX raid, I'd say Darkrai is a safe bet to release into those EX raids. Now, if they did release Regigigas, sure, why not? Okay, it's going to be a fun challenge, a new type of Pokemon, because we just keep seeing Psychic after Psychic after Psychic, and it's just getting a little old. I mean, sure, some of the Pokemon are pretty cool, but for the most part, it'd be nice for a mix-up here, and making it a normal type kind of tank should be pretty fun. I guess, here we go again with the Machamps. That's why Machamp is such an amazing investment, because they just keep coming up as a very usable Pokemon, and that Stardust investment is very well worth it. So, who knows? It does have Zen Headbutt, Rock Smash, Stone Edge, Avalanche, it could be pretty good, I suppose. Alright, it's not getting staff from any of its moves, but if they want to make some waves, if they want to get people really hype, Arceus, EX Raid, that's going to be the way to go. We have all these different types. Claiming just one and getting a random type would just be very not fun, right? And if it was some sort of mythical breakthrough and you're only able to get one, then you still have that type. But they can fix all of that if you're only able to catch one, and that is going to be those plates. If you're able to obtain plates and switch the typing, I guess once whenever. I don't know if there'd be a cooldown, but some sort of time period, or you just pick one type permanently. I suppose that'd be better than just getting a random type that you didn't want initially. And I'm well aware a lot of you do think that this Pokemon is worthy of only one for each trainer because, well, I mean, Arceus, the god of Pokemon, yeah. Alright, now, before we close this video out, let's go ahead and go over what Deoxys can probably pick up for new moves, kind of like Mewtwo did when it became a legendary raid for the public. It picked up that Hyper Beam and Shadow Ball Legacy, and then it picked up for its newer moves, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Flamethrower, which work fantastic to its benefit. So for Deoxys, what can we see here? So we see Psycho Boost, which it already has, Zen Headbutt, Psychic, it's not going to benefit from that whatsoever, Hyper Beam. Alright, so we're just going to move on here. It's going to have the different various forms for their moves. We're going to just kind of move on past because they're all basically the same except for a couple. Something notable though is definitely going to be Psyshock. If any of them are able to learn that, that is going to be crazy good. Now also, how do I think they're going to introduce all of these different forms? I make it sound like there's so many. The 4 different forms. Are they just going to come all together? I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be random. There will be Deoxys released publicly, and then it has a chance to be the normal form, speed form, attack form, or defense form at random. I could be wrong, but that's just my estimated guess at this point. Now, if we move on down here, we are going to see a couple of decent moves like Shadow Ball, which it would benefit from that quite significantly. That would be fantastic. Energy Ball, I mean, I guess so. Dream Eater, I don't think it's going to learn that. Dark Pulse is on the attack form, so that's already pretty decent. Where was that? Let's go down here. It's actually down a little bit further. Here we go. Move Tutor moves. Drain Punch. Now, that would work so good because, well, it's Psychic type, weak to Dark. Therefore, it would have that fantastic fighting type move to combat those dark type Pokemon. Drain Punch is yet to be introduced into the game, so who knows if that's going to be something they're going to put on it. Focus Punch as well. Any sort of fighting move on the Deoxys is going to be working great, as we've seen with the defense form. It's a fantastic Great League Pokemon because it does have counter. It is bulky, and it just works great. Counter being one of the best quick moves in PvP for Pokemon Go. And then we have Signal Beam. You know, it's a few good moves in here, but notably I'm looking at Drain Punch as well as Shadow Ball and Dark Pulse distributed for the other forms, but I don't think that's going to happen for the Dark Pulse, but who knows, guys. Anyways, just wanted to bring you that bit of information. And what if it learned Icy Wind or Ice Punch? I could totally see them putting that on it. But Signal Beam actually might be pretty good too, because, well, Bug is going to be super effective to Dark types. And if it did pick that up, it would be able to do super effective damage to both Grass, Psychic, and Dark types, which would be absolutely great. And another Dark type move it can benefit from is going to be Throat Chop. What a name, Throat Chop. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Hope you guys enjoyed this prediction video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And I'll be catching you all next time.